What's going on, y'all? It's the kid J Nolan here. The Hollywood world is about to change as we know it. All right, now we know that there's been a writer's strike going on for the better part of about 2.5 months almost. All the writers in Hollywood, or the majority of the writers in Hollywood, they're on strike because they're not being paid enough for their work. They have impending AI stuff coming on the scene where you can make anything out of anything. All you got to do is tell people what you want and you can get a whole essay, script. Whatever it is that you're looking for, you could get it done in AI. They're trying to protect themselves from that. They're also, like I said, trying to receive better pay for their work, better residuals for their work as it goes onto streaming platforms. And we all know the entire business has shifted to platform originals, where you have Netflix creating their own shows, Hulu doing the same, HBO Max, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus. Every app is making their own content. It's not being made to be consumed on regular TV. So of course those royalty rates pay much differently. As somebody who makes music that gets featured in these projects, we're noticing that these platform original projects are actually paying us less and less, right? All of these app projects, since they're not getting to as many people at once, they're not getting played in reruns as much. You get the on-demand watches and stuff like that, but the money's just not adding up like it used to. We're no longer just looking at the writers on strike. Now we have SAG-AFTRA, which is the Screen Actors Guild. So that's actors on screen. They're now going on strike for the same reason. Contract negotiations between SAG-AFTRA and the AMPTP, which is basically the association of all of those different apps and platforms. Those negotiations have completely fallen apart and they've not been able to come to an agreement. Instead of taking further meetings to come to some sort of compromise, the Screen Actors Guild decided that they don't even want to come back no more. They're going on strike until they're ready to come play ball and be more fair. Now, this is going to be the first actor strike against the film and television industry since 1980, right? And this is the first time that actors and writers have been on a strike at the same time since 1960, when Ronald Reagan was still the president of the Screen Actors Guild. They're actually getting ready to start picketing and taking to the streets tomorrow morning. In a statement from SAG-AFTRA, they say, after more than 4 weeks of bargaining, the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, the entity that represents major studios and streamers including Amazon, Apple, Disney, NBC Universal, Netflix, Paramount, Sony, Warner Brothers, Discovery, they remain unwilling to offer a fair deal on the key issues that are essential to SAG-AFTRA members. In the face of the AMPTP's intransigence and delay tactics, SAG-AFTRA's negotiating committee voted unanimously to recommend to the National Board a strike of the producers' SAG-AFTRA TV/theatrical/streaming contracts, which expired on July the 12th at 11:59 p.m. SAG-AFTRA's president, Miss Fran Drescher, that you know from back in the 80s and 90s, she said SAG-AFTRA negotiated in good faith and was eager to reach a deal that sufficiently addressed performer needs, but the AMPTP's response to the union's most important proposals have been insulting and disrespectful of our massive contributions to this industry. The companies have refused to meaningfully engage on some topics, and on others completely stonewalled us. Until they do negotiate in good faith, we cannot begin to reach a deal. We have no choice but to move forward in unity and on behalf of our membership with a strike recommendation to the National Board. Their National Executive Director and Chief Negotiator, Duncan Crabtree Ireland, says, the studios and streamers have implemented massive unilateral changes in our industry's business model while at the same time insisting on keeping our contracts frozen in amber. That's not how you treat a valued, respected partner and essential contributor. Their refusal to meaningfully engage with our key proposals and the fundamental disrespect shown to our members is what has brought us to this point. The studios and streamers have underestimated our members' resolve, as they're about to fully discover. At this very moment, as I'm speaking right now in Los Angeles, they're actually holding a press conference, letting the world know that this is going to be effective as of tomorrow. The association that they're negotiating with, the AMPTP, they issued a statement as well saying, we are deeply disappointed that SAG-AFTRA has decided to walk away from negotiations. This is the union's choice, not ours. In doing so, it has dismissed our offer of historic pay and residual increases, substantially higher caps on pension and health contributions, audition protections, shortened series option periods, a groundbreaking AI proposal that protects actors' digital likenesses, and more. Rather than continuing to negotiate, SAG-AFTRA has put us on a course that will deepen the financial hardship for thousands who depend on the industry for their livelihood. So they're basically saying, we tried to give y'all, what y'all wanted. We're going to try to save face. We're going to tell everybody what we've tried to offer, but we're not going to go into detail, right? So although they may have put some things on the table, you got to understand when it comes to stuff like this, the streamers, the production companies, all of them have been in business for decades, hundreds of years for some of them. They're always going to be the primary beneficiary of the projects. I'm not saying this in favor of them. I'm just saying that's what it is. Unfortunately, they're the ones that put up the money. They're the ones that invest into the projects. When you have a dope script, the studios are going to step up to the plate and make something happen. Executive producers, etc. All these big companies that you see promoted at the beginning and end of films. And because they're in that position, they feel like they're in the position of power. The same thing happens in the music industry between labels and artists, publishers and songwriters. There's always going to be that distinction, right? We also have the labels, artists, and songwriters against the streaming companies like the Spotifys. Spotify has issued out many statements talking about how they really don't intend to pay us. They don't want to increase the pay rate. They don't want to increase how much a stream is worth, right? There's so many different negotiations about mechanical royalties that have been going on, trying to gradually increase the percentage that songwriters make off of their music, but they're only willing to do incremental changes. The problem is we're doing all the work. We're investing all of our money, you know what I'm saying, as independents to get our stuff out there, to market ourselves. And there's not enough market share to actually make your money back. The film industry is dealing with the same type of stuff, which is why they're going on strike. That's what music does not have in common with the film industry. All of us are basically independent contractors. We're all doing our own thing, trying to find our way. We don't have any sort of protection. Anybody that speaks about a union typically gets shut down, or the people that are talking about a union in the music industry, they typically don't know what to do next after talking about it. KRS-One, Dougie Fresh, Curtis Blow, and a lot of people, they went out to try to form a union. They unionized with SAG-AFTRA. You can join the hip-hop union with them, but how many people are actually taking the step to join? I know I did, but there's still a lot of information that's not known on how to actually reap those benefits. So, getting back to film. So alongside the Writers Guild, the actors are now striking, which means the strike is going to shut down films and scripted TV shows that employ SAG-AFTRA members. Not just in the United States, but around the entire world. Soap operas, which fall under a separate contract, are exempt, so those will continue. But under the global rule, no member shall render any services or make an agreement to perform services for any employer who has not executed a basic minimum agreement with the union, which is in full force and effect in any jurisdiction where there is a SAG-AFTRA national collective bargaining agreement in place. This provision applies worldwide. So if you're a member of SAG-AFTRA, you are now barred from taking work. That's basically what's going down. As of about a month ago, 98% of the members were in favor of authorizing a strike if fair deals could not be reached. The decision to strike comes nearly 3 weeks after the Directors Guild overwhelmingly ratified their own new contract, and against the backdrop of a grassroots campaign that urged SAG-AFTRA to stand strong at the bargaining table and join WGA on the picket lines. This is going to affect more than 1,700 actors, including many prominent SAG-AFTRA members, the ones that we love, the ones that are in all our favorite TV shows, movies, etc. Everybody is going to be taking a seat, not a literal seat, because they're actually going to be taken to the streets for change when it comes to what they want. SAG-AFTRA is committed to ensuring our members are able to make a living performing in scripted dramatic live action entertainment. This means ensuring increased compensation when our members work, shoring up the funding of our health, retirement, and pension plans, and providing our members a meaningful share of the economic value created by their performances. As for residuals, while new business models mean that more and more SAG-AFTRA content is monetized around the globe, residual payments are failing to reflect the economic value of this exhibition. SAG-AFTRA is committed to ensuring residual payments both reflect the economic value of our members' contribution and serve as a meaningful source of performer earnings. They also spoke on self-taped auditions. They say, while self-taped auditions are unregulated and out of control, too many pages, too little time, and unreasonable requirements have made self-taping auditions a massive, daily, uncompensated burden on the lives of performers. Reasonable rules and limitations and access to other casting formats are sorely needed to ensure fair access to work opportunities and protect performers against exploitation. Self-tape auditions are when you don't necessarily have to show up on site or on location to audition for a role, but basically there's actors out here who their entire day is taken up doing self-tape auditions, and they're not being compensated for any of their work, right? Because you don't get compensated until you accept the role, perform the role, your agent comes into play, you talk about the money, all that good stuff. It's very tough to talk about these issues because it's hard to believe that we'll ever live in a world where everything is completely fair and done in the interest of fairness. We do live in a capitalist society. We do live in a society where businesses like to play like they're broke until they finally decide that they want to bring you on board. So they're not going to be paying audition prices. They're not going to want to pay better residuals on these projects that are being played to a limited audience, right? These new apps are now taking on projects that aren't shown on their actual TV channel counterparts. They're just going to app exclusives these days. So that's less money. It's a smaller viewership that they're catering to. So there's a lot of different business practices at play that just aren't making a lot of sense. And everybody wants to have their own streaming platform so that they could try to compete with the Netflixes and Hulus and not have to send their content over to them and do exclusive deals for certain amounts of time. But now that's also presenting challenges in the compensation. Like I said in the beginning of this video, the entertainment world, Hollywood, and the music industry are all undergoing massive changes rapidly as we continue to advance in life. I don't know how this thing is going to play out. I don't know how long they're willing to strike. And it looks like those that are empowered, those that we're trying to negotiate with, they're willing to isolate us out and basically say, hey, if y'all want to go on strike, y'all not going to make no money. Eventually, y'all going to have to come back and play ball. We'll be fine. We'll stagger out the release of our projects. We've already filmed hella stuff. So if we got to wait for the next 2-3 years and drag this thing out, if that's what y'all want to do, fuck with us if you want to. Y'all gonna be the ones not eating, not us. Now, I understand that there's a limited amount of people in the world that actually care about these negotiations and care about the livelihood of actors, writers, directors, etc. that really make their living from these things. We consume this stuff on a daily basis. We're trained to not care. We're trained to not worry about where it comes from, who has to put the work in, etc. We just want the content. But if you want to continue to get the content, if you want quality content that you're going to actually be satisfied with and not be joking on it all day, like when I watch Tyler Perry on BET, they need to be properly compensated. They need to be properly taken care of. You will want the people that are putting their lives and bodies, intellect, etc. on the line every day to feel good about what it is that they're doing. Let me know what y'all think of this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the post notification bell for all updates. I'll see y'all on the next one, man. Peace.